Hey, how y'all doing today? We here with another video, and we're just reacting to some JJ McCarthy takes. Here by Matt the Great and some other creators. So let's hop right into it, and let's talk about that first game that the Vikings had against the Bears. I was, a person who's a fan of the Vikings, Minnesota all the way. Let's go. It was a good game to watch, real competitive. We all love competitive games around the NBA. So let's get to that.
The NFL. McCarthy, what's your thoughts on this preseason? I got a bunch of likes. As y'all know, your boy Matt is a fan of the people. I'm going to give the people what they want. It's as simple as that. So here we go. I also want to apologize. It's taken me this long to even talk about him, but we were going through some stuff earlier in the week on the channel. If you know, you know. I'm not going to get into all that. Getting back on track here, there's a lot of different things I want to talk about with McCarthy. For starters, he didn't play last year, so there was a lot of question marks. There were some people out there saying it was bold of the head coach just to get rid of Sam Darnold like that and put all of his faith, all of his marbles in one basket, that basket being McCarthy. Was it a little bit risky? Sure, especially when you take into account Sam Darnold. He was a more than capable quarterback. He could win you some games. But
Sam Darnold was a really good quarterback. He won 14 games, right? Lost 3. Really disappointed that he lost to the same teams. But you look at that season, Sam Darnold had a good season. But to put it like this, though, it's much more than stats and accolades. I mean, LeBron had a point when he was saying that people put too much emphasis into these stats and accolades, and I think that was misconstrued. That wasn't told properly. But I do believe that you have to, it's some merit to these stats, and he put up a good season. In general, though, I don't believe Sam Darnold is that much more. I don't believe Sam Darnold even proven to be a better talent than JJ McCarthy. Really, he has the experience, right? He's been in the NFL for a couple of years. He was with the Jets. He just got from San Francisco, but for the price that he was probably asking, looking at the Seattle Seahawks, and I don't know what their deals is, and what his discussions with the Vikings were. He could probably been asking for less, more, maybe so in between. We don't know, right? But around that price point, I don't believe that Sam Darnold was better, or if he was better, not tremendously amounts of better to sacrifice money. I mean, at the end of the day, these NFL teams are companies, right? And they need, they got to make money. And just looking at Minneapolis is not the biggest market in the NFL. It is bigger than some. It is a pretty big market. I mean, looking at all the sports teams up here, it's pretty industrial. It got got income taxes and shit. But, Vikings aren't one of those teams where, like Los Angeles, where you can just throw money at players, So, with that being said, I understand why they didn't re-sign Sam Darnold. And then I also understand I'm pretty sure they would have offered him a contract. He just probably took a better one from the Seattle Seahawks, and you can't blame him. And I know, and I say that because it hasn't become official that they offered him a contract. But I mean, a lot of the under the table negotiations do go on around these leagues. You don't have to look too much farther than Kawhi Leonard and what he's going through with the Clippers for that to be proven. So let's get back into it.
Consensus around that facility, all the players, the coaching staff.
But yeah, JJ McCarthy also. He was unproven to the NFL, but then again, JJ McCarthy, for all intents and purposes, for a rookie, he has some of the most proven track records that are one of the best proven track records that you can ask from a quarterback, right? I mean, you look at his time in Michigan, right? You look at his time when he was in high school back in Chicago, right? And that's another thing. J.J. McCarthy grew up around the same centralized area, right? Around the map, and him winning at each and every stage of his career, and we got, and one thing is we know these quarterbacks gotta take time. You gotta look at the average. I know as of lately, it's been quarterbacks who've been starting right out the gate and making noise. I mean, Lamar Jackson had a really good rookie season year. Burrow, Allen, Mahomes, Jalen, you got Daniels, you have Knicks, and you got so you got all these players that come out. I mean, Caleb is a pretty good. I think he's a pretty good quarterback, decent one for a second year. I don't want to put too much expectations on him right now, right? So for J.J. McCarthy to be performing at this level and also have the proven accolades from his years before the Vikings, that's for sure a player. You know what I mean?
Was McCarthy can take them to that next level. He can take them to a championship. You never really get the feel and vibe that Sam Darnold, he could get you to that level. No disrespect to him. McCarthy was the quarterback.
And that's another thing. I do agree with that point. I just don't believe Sam Darnold just didn't have it. I really wish JJ didn't get injured last year, but I'd rather have JJ with that last year roster. But this roster is pretty good. They did lose a few pieces on defense, and so we can expect things to look a little shaky. But they did also pick up a good amount of talent from the draft, but also the free agency. So this is a good team to see him with.
They drafted. Therefore, they believe in him more. Darnold was always viewed as a bridge quarterback. It was one of those situations where, hey, McCarthy, here's our guy, but if you can get us through this year, we're going to try to make the best out of it. We're still going to try to win. But after that, you're probably done-sos. That is what has led us up until this point. Fast forward in time into our Monday night showdown. We got Caleb Williams, former number 1 overall pick, versus McCarthy in his first ever NFL game in action. It was a great game to say the least. I hate to sit up here and say that McCarthy was struggling in the first half and early in the third quarter. I would more so.
I mean, you gotta do. Sometimes they say don't call a spade, but sometimes you gotta call a spade a spade. Like I was saying with Caleb, right? You don't want to judge these people too early. For all intents and purposes, though, he had a bad first 3 quarters. Let's keep it a buck. He had a bad first half. I firmly believe he didn't really turn it up until the fourth. People say he turned, and looking at it, he did turn around throughout the third, but he didn't really turn it on until the fourth, in my opinion. And I am a person who try not to be super critical. I try to give chances, leeway, understanding, and so I'm just calling it what it is. Not saying he's bad. He struggled. But we've seen it before from other quarterbacks. So by us admitting that he struggled does not take away from the fact that he had a good game overall.
Label it as he wasn't. Well, now that I think about it, I guess you could say he was struggling. You get the point. He wasn't playing good. Offense wasn't doing anything. But right after he threw that pick six, whew, it was a different breed out there. It was a different beast. He channeled his inner Tom Brady. You could see it in his eyes. This was a man on a mission, and he was not going to be denied. He entered what I like to call the flow state, a.k.a. this is what you hear people call it in sports a lot, the zone. If you were to type in on Google, what is the definition of being locked in, I'm almost certain there's going to be a picture of J.J. McCarthy. That's all you need to know. He was unbelievable. He had 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter alone, 2 of those passing, 1 of those rushing. But what stood out the most to me was his mentality when he was losing, when he was down. When they were losing, McCarthy was going around telling his teammates, hey man, is there anywhere else you'd rather be? That right there, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, is why McCarthy was selected in the first round.
And then you got to look at that clip with Justin Jefferson when JJ went up to Justin Jefferson and said, don't give up on me. And Justin Jefferson said, I got you. He said, "I got you." You know, these motherfuckers is locked in. You hear me, man? I'm glad to see it though.
Reason alone, not just his talent, but his mentality. I don't know if he's going to be one of the best quarterbacks in this league. You don't know. Nobody knows. But here's what I know for a fact. He has what it takes in the headspace. You see, a lot of players just mentally can't get to that point. I'll give you a great example. Anthony Richardson. I don't think he can get there. When you watch Anthony Richardson play, do you really get the sense and vibes that...
Not too much on Anthony, though. I mean, then again, like, this is another situation. Second-year quarterback. He had some questionable plays throughout the season last year, some questionable decisions, and some questionable statements. But, hey, he a rookie. We all young. Bro's, I believe he a little bit older than me. Like, he's in his 20s. I'm 21. Bro got to be like 22 at the, I don't know. 22, 23, maybe 20. I don't know. Bro's young. I mean, let's chill, bro. Let's chill, bro.
It's life or death for him, and he's super locked in, he's super engaged. No, he just seems like a guy that likes football. McCarthy, it's his life. He doesn't love it. No, it is his life. McCarthy's a cold-blooded killer. Richardson, on the other hand, not to single him out, but he is one of the recent quarterbacks that got selected in the top 5. He's just a talented football player. There's a big difference. You want to know what my favorite trait about McCarthy is? For most quarterbacks, this is the most important stat. Some may say it's the only one that really even matters. He is a winner. Dating back to high school as a starting quarterback, he is 64-3. Let me say that again. 64-3. I've been telling people for years on the channel, dating back to when he was a freshman at Michigan, he is one of the most talented quarterbacks in all college football. And
that's something I didn't know. I did not know he was 63-3 from dating back from high school to now. So that is a crazy stat line. Yeah, I believe he lost once in he lost once or twice at Michigan, I believe. I know he transferred to Michigan. Yeah, so yeah, that's crazy.
Nobody wanted to believe me because I
think he had an undefeated season at Michigan, or was it the college before? I'm trying to do a little bit of research on them.
Can look good in that Michigan offense when you're handing the ball off 80% of plays. You're only throwing it 15, 20 times per game. You're missing the point. Every single time McCarthy was asked to throw the ball at Michigan or he had to make a big play, he made it. You can't just look at a quarterback who is in a run-first offense and go, oh, yeah, well, he's a game manager. Number one, I don't think that's a disrespectful term. That's a compliment. Number two, he's playing his role. That's what a quarterback's supposed to do.
And that's another thing is, I believe, with the recent rise of like the star culture and like these leagues, is they don't really do too much of a good job explaining it. I'm all for like players having podcasts, as players being announcers and whatnot, but like let's not take the end all be all of what they say for facts, right? First of all, everybody is damn near a role player. Everybody on it, like technically considering, everybody is technically a role player. Everybody has their job. You got to do your job. The quarterback is not a running back. The running back is not a kicker. The kicker is not a receiver. The receiver is not a defensive end. So on and so forth, right? Everybody's a role player, right? And you have to play your role. Now, we have stars, gears, and cranks, right, of the people who run and lead the team, right? Typically, sometimes then football, quarterback, the coaches, linebackers, so on and so forth, right? The highly IQ players in skill positions usually, right? With that being said, don't knock him for winning. Don't knock him for winning, right? If you, like, hey, he only wins one way. That is a valid concern. I mean, like, I get the concerns, right? Listing it. But to say that JJ, he won't be successful because of us, he played a certain way while he was, in a different predicament, a different situation, it's unfair, right? So let's just let that be known.
I always think about that. I can't help it. The biggest misconception that college...
Because he's not a head coach. I mean, like, he's a player, a quarterback, He got to do his job. I don't, from like what I heard from out there, the stories that these NFL players tell, and sometimes the head coaches will get them involved in the playmaking, and it's typical for the quarterback and the coach to be close one-on-one to really talk, relate, and share ideas because they're basically they have coinciding abilities and obligations that they must fulfill for the team, right? That they share, and so for them to, him to have an opinion or an input on the plays that they're running would not be out of the ordinary. But typically it's the coach, and for what it is, he won, right? So let's not use a play style against somebody who won. Right?
Which football fans had about McCarthy is that he can't take over and win you a game. He can. I saw him do it against Alabama in the semifinals. I saw him do it against Ohio State. Go back, turn on the tape, watch the film. When there's a 3rd down and 10, 3rd down and 12, 3rd down and 6, whatever, who's making the big time play? McCarthy. All throughout his collegiate career, people try to discredit him. And that's why I'm bringing up he's a winner. People get so infatuated with these collegiate quarterbacks throwing for 450 yards a game, throwing for 5,000 yards on a season, having 45 touchdown passes to 5 interceptions. That's fine and all. I'm not saying they're bad quarterbacks, but it doesn't mean the guy who's only throwing for 3,000 passing yards, taking care of the football, has a completion percentage of 70%, touchdown interception ratio, we'll say has like 30 touchdowns to 5 interceptions, isn't as good as the other player, if not better. Here's where I'm going at with all this. McCarthy has never had to throw for 450 yards to beat a team, but here's the kicker with that. He can! So just keep that in the back of your mind. I don't think he has haters. It's more so there's just some naysayers, people that don't believe in the hype. And after seeing what he did against the Bears, being down 17-6, I don't know what more you need to see. I hate to overreact, or it's really not like I am overreacting to one NFL game because I've been high on him for 4 or 5 years. What you saw Monday night was accumulation of the type of quarterback I think McCarthy is and will be. It wasn't a fluke. He's not a one-hit wonder. He's a great football player. He's a great quarterback. Obviously, I don't got to sit here and say he played a great game. You know that. Let's talk about the future. What's next for him? What are the expectations? I like to talk about this with rookie quarterbacks. I don't really know. Do we consider him a rookie?
I think, well, I consider him, no, I mean, he's not a rookie quarterback. This is his first season, though, right? It really is what you want to depend, right? First season, first game. That question is really opinionated right there, right? What's next is just finish the season, man. You had a good game. It's not finished. You had a good game. It's not finished. Let's go out there. I believe in him. I think J.J. McCarthy is a great quarterback. So I can't wait to see him in these upcoming games. But what's next is finishing the season strong and getting better. Stay healthy.
Rookie quarterback, he didn't play last year, so I guess he'd be. Let me know in the comment section how that works. I am 99% sure we do consider him rookie, but Matt, that's besides the point. Shut up, get on with it, sorry. With this being his first season with the Vikings, who I would say they're probably going to have a fairly decent season, what are they looking for record-wise? I would say, they should bare minimum, there's 17 games in the NFL season, regular season at that. You're looking at the minimum, I'd say the low end, 10-7. Anything under that would kind of be a disappointing season if you could ask me. On the high end, I'd say a 14-3.
I don't know what folks is talking about. That to me seems a little bit unrealistic. Seeing that I personally think that the team as a whole was better last year, right? And seeing that they took a small regress, right? And not trying to hold him. And to just be honest, he's just not as experienced. We've seen the lack of experience for 3 quarters. And we've seen his talent and his skill take over for the fourth for one game though. So 14-3 was their last season record. I don't think that they can top that. I believe max, right? Let's start with max. I do believe they have a pretty good ceiling. One of the highest ceilings in the league. Just going off of last year alone, right? And just going off of last year alone, right? But let's be realistic. I believe they can win 11 to 10 games, max. 11-6, 10-7. Not too bad for a rookie quarterback. That's a good season. That's what I consider. Anything above that is a great season for him. That right there is 10-7 is a great season for J.J. McCarthy, rookie coming in. That's a great season for anybody. I can't remember what Jaden McDaniels had, but I believe he was 9-8, 10-7 last year. So he 10 wins is good. 10 wins is good. I see minimum 6 wins. 6-11. Minimum. That's just my opinion, and I don't want to be too hateful, but I don't see them quite having the success that they had last year, because for the most part, I don't want to seem disingenuous or disrespectful, but it was a fluke. This is a Minnesota Vikings fight, and I only say that it was a fluke because it's not yet proven. If it is proven this season and maybe again next season, right? One time it happens. Okay, that it happens. 2 times is a coincidence. 3 times is not a coincidence anymore. And what I'm trying to say is, it happens. 14-3, randomly legendary season happens, but to continue that, especially having the roster changeover that in the positions that they had and that they had their roster changeovers in, is really bad. And so that can take an effect on the team. I believe that will play a part in the team ability to the team's ceiling, or the team ability to reach their peak or the glory that they had last season with that roster. So those are reasons why I do believe that the Vikings will not recapture some of the former glory that they had last season. I do believe that they will be overall. I do believe this will be an overall successful season for J.J. McCarthy and the Minnesota Vikings as a whole. Wild card, anything that's a wild card to me is overachieving. Let's just be honest. I believe it's overachieving. So, with that being said, thank you guys for watching this video. Please like and subscribe for more content. I'm really just getting into this. So thank you guys, and you guys have a great day.